Christopher Kiffin, going all the way back to his days as an offensive quarterbacks coach under Pete Carroll at USC. In fact, he helped recruit one Max Brown.
He did. He was the man I signed with about a decade ago.
So we're underway. That one through the back of the end zone. And right from the start, Ole Miss, who won the toss and elected to receive. And we get a look at Jackson Dart, 21 years young, out of Kaysville, Utah. Was the Max Preps High School Player of the Year in 20 win. Went to USC. Played 6 games with 3 starts. Transfers here. And now his 27th straight start for the Rebels.
And that first statistic sticks out. 87% completion percentage on the season so far. Set a school and SEC record last week with 24 straight completions. He's efficient and has command of this offense.
Henry Parrish Jr. in the backfield, standing alongside of Dart. On a first down, they play fake it, and they're going to throw. And the catch is made on the far side all the way across midfield, and it's Caden Lee. For Lee, that is his 9th reception of the season. And a gain of 26.
A little flood concept. They love Caden Lee in the slot, and right here you're going to see the tempo. Ole Miss gets to the line quickly.
Catch made again on the far side, and that'll be close to another first down. And once more, it's Caden Lee. He is technically their 3rd leading wide receiver. They have weapons everywhere.
They do, and he's one of the few guys that is not a transfer. That's going to be a common theme with this Ole Miss roster on both sides of the ball. They went into the portal, got weapons. Caden Lee, the true sophomore, is one of the carryover receivers.
Going to throw it again. This side, this time. And that will be Harris. And Trey Harris run out of bounds. Another first down pickup. Boy, this is happening right now for Ole Miss.
And it's tough because if you're Wake Forest and Dave Clawson, you want to keep the Rebels in front of you. No explosive plays, but Jackson Dart has no issue executing.
Another pass attempt. Pump fake, now he'll take off running, and he is a very good runner. But you pointed out, Max, that they don't want him running much. They know what he can do, and he'll pick his spots. But they have a lot of other weapons. They don't have to worry about him running.
And I really think that speaks to the growth of Jackson Dart. Early on, it was a lot of design runs, but they know that he is an NFL talent in the pocket. Doesn't have to run.
Harris's first carry, cuts it back to the middle of the field and into the end zone. That is a touchdown for Henry Parrish Jr. And man, oh man, a gain of 25 to the end zone. Bang, bang, bang. The Rebels on the board.
And they wasted absolutely no time getting it done. What a cut right there. That interior of the offensive line for Ole Miss. They went in the portal, got 2 world-class offensive guards. Running right behind those guys has been the theme of their season so far.
Caden Davis on for the point after. It took all of 1 minute and 23 seconds to march down the field. Good snap, good hold, and the kick is good. Dart perfect on the drive, and from Camp, Parrish. In fact, the Rebels faithful have traveled pretty well for this one.
They have. If you wasted any time at home getting your beverages or food or whatnot, you missed a quick strike offense by Ole Miss's bunch.
So 7-0 Rebels, and now the Demon Deacons will try and answer. Through the back of the end zone, and that'll bring out the quarterback, a transfer himself, a 4-star recruit out of Murrieta, California, 25 years old, is Hank Botmeyer. Played 4 years at Boise State, then spent 1 season a year ago at Louisiana Tech. In his career, he's thrown for over 9,000 yards.
He's played a lot of football. When I first saw Hank, it was in 2019, which speaks to the COVID era extra eligibility we've been seeing. But it's 2019 as a true freshman on the road at Florida State. He was asked to throw 51 times and came away with the upset there in Tallahassee against the Seminoles. He's going to need a similar production game today to ultimately get this win.
Damon Claiborne in the backfield. He's their main man, and he's bottled up, pushed forward. And it's up to the 28-yard line. That'll be a gain of 3 on first down. Tackle made by Jared Ivey. This front line is in for a challenge today for Wake Forest.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. And Wake Forest wants to be a tempo team as well.
Good protection here. And then the ball is tipped, it looked like, floats to the tight end, and it's caught by Harry Lodge, and that is a first down.
Great job by Lodge, just sitting right over the middle of the ball. Bachmeier had the ball tipped, but good job getting through his progression. You're seeing early on, they want to establish some level of run game and some level of quick passing game to get the ball out of Bachmeier's hands.
I think Lane Kiffin is wondering if that ball was caught, as a timeout is called on the field.
The luxury of the ump cam. Right next to him, definitely traps it on the grass. Hard to tell there one way or another. Again, the ball can technically move on the turf, but the receiver has to remain in control of the football throughout the entire process. Yeah, that ball got tipped at the line of scrimmage. It's an active defensive front from Ole Miss. Looks like Jared Ivey got a hand on it. Again, he's trapping it, but I don't see anything there that would necessarily overturn it as a drop.
Yeah, the ruling on the field is a completed pass for a first down. And they're taking a look at it back in Charlotte. Boy, that's some kind of setup they have back there.
Oh, yeah. We mentioned it, though, that quick passing game going to be such a critical point of today's game. This defensive line so strong for Ole Miss. You're not going to have the luxury of having 3-4 seconds back there in the pocket.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands.
So it is a first down, completed pass to the tight end, Harry Lodge. A week ago, Bachmeier threw for over 400 yards. But he came in, we were told, on Monday and said, I should have thrown for 650.
They left some yards out on the field for sure. But that speaks to this offensive attack. Last year it was a Wake Forest offense that struggled, but the passing attack is now part of their game this year.
And this is Claiborne. They'll try and bounce it to the outside. Stiff arms the would-be tackler. And he crosses a 40. They'll spot him at the 41-yard line. That's a gain of 5 on first down.
The big hit at the end as well. Great stiff arm right there. You've seen the explosiveness of Claiborne. He's in bounds. That's a legal hit by Isaiah Hamilton, the corner from Ole Miss. I love this running back from Wake Forest, Damon Claiborne. He's an explosive playmaker.
Yeah, he is a really good player. And they'll hand it off to him again, and not much running room, if any at all. It'll bring up a third down. No gain on the play. The stop made by Walter Nolan. We'll call his name a lot. He was a #1 high school player in the country. Nolan was coming out of high school 2 years ago. Went to Texas A&M and is transferred now to Ole Miss. Third down. And down he goes, sacked. Ivy, the first of a number of Rebels that were there. And so this drive stalls on third down.
Ivy had the pass deflection early on. He gets in there early. Jamarius Brown as well, or excuse me, J.J. Pegues by Bachmeier's feet. It's a group effort. That's going to be a common theme today. That clock in Bachmeier's head's got to go off. You're not going to have the luxury of being able to pat the ball a couple times. Those quick passing game concepts, find a way to get a man open.
Standing all the way back is Micah Davis, and he is dropped right in his tracks inside the 15-yard line. Deuce Alexander, excellent special teams player and wide receiver. All right, took the Rebels a $1.23 to score the last time. Brought to you by PNC Bank, brilliantly boring since 1865. Applebee's, now that's eating good in the neighborhood. And by Humana, a way more human way to healthcare. 7-0 Ole Miss. First down. They spot the ball at just above the 17-yard line. Parrish a first down carry, cuts it back to the inside, and he is tripped up after a gain of 12 on first down. This offense scored in 1 minute and 23 seconds. They have scored 18 touchdowns this year. 9 of the 18 have been less than 2 minutes.
They do not blink.
Not much running room that time. Combs coming up to make the stop. I mean, you look at their first two, and look, you say the competition. Okay. Furman, they beat 76-0. They play Middle Tennessee State. They win 52-3. They're the top scoring team in the country, the #1 ranked offense in the country, and you're seeing why. And Lunging forward inside the 35-yard line is Trey Harris. That'll be another first down.
You're seeing the command from Jackson Dart. Looks to get that quick out to the right. Not there. Middle of the defense is wide open right there. Daquan Wright, the transfer from Virginia Tech, taking the middle grass. They want to get him more involved in this offensive game plan.
Come right back to Harris again. Still on his feet inside the 30, shoved out of bounds at the 28. Like to remind you that closed captioning for CW Football Saturday is brought to you by Skechers Hands-Free Slip-Ins. Second down, Parrish looking for a little running room and not much there. He's very close to a first down. Needed to get to the 25, and he might be just short. We'll see. Yep.
The defensive tackles for Wake Forest have to show up big today. 91, Kevin Pointer. 55, Bryce Gaines. Tall task against this Ole Miss offensive line.
How about that direct snap to Parrish, and he is stuffed for a loss of a yard and fourth down. And Lane Kiffin's going to go for it.
Yeah, you're seeing Branson Combs right there, outside linebacker, Dylan Hazen, the other linebacker, Dyson in there, and Lane Kiffin, no hesitation. Didn't even think about it. Right when the tackle went down, he put in the next offensive personnel group. He's going for it here on fourth.
They need to get to the 25, so less than a yard. And look at a big fella. Holy Moses. Up and over the top, and that is indeed a first down. Pegues, good Lord.
Ooh, baby.
You want to hit that train?
With the double arm sleeve, he's like, this is my time. Look at this up cam right there. If you're a middle linebacker, you're not meeting that in the A-gap.
No.
If you're jumping up trying to dislodge that football, good luck doing that.
I don't think Lawrence Taylor wanted to hit that guy. Good, strong, powerful running inside the 20, down to the 17. So they convert on fourth down after getting stuffed on third and a yard. And boy, defensive players just got to love that from his coach to put him in that situation.
Without a doubt.
Bobbled snap, and it's loose, and it looks like Wake has it. Those are the kind of little things that you're going to need to happen to have a chance if you're Wake Forest. Snap a little bit high. It was bobbled. It looked as though Dart was going to fall on it and then could not find the handle.
A high snap. Dart's trying to play the play. Gets dislodged, and two Wake Forest Demon Deacons in the bottom. B.J. Williams, 18, and Kevin Pointer, 91. Just a high snap. Can't do anything if you're Jackson Dart. Got to come down with that. But credit this Wake Forest defense for getting in the backfield, mixing things up. And this is an Ole Miss offense. We talked about it. They have had no issues this entire season. That's really the first mistake, first road bump. Be interesting to see how they respond.
Yeah, it's their first turnover of this young season. So right back on offense. Here comes Bachmeier. And he's going to throw it on first down. Tries to sneak it in there. Tight window. It's incomplete. 2nd and 10. All right, beautiful aerial coverage brought to you by our friends, the Lucas Oil Helicopter.
Phenomenal view.
And this is a beautiful place. The campus here is just right down the road, maybe half a mile. Second down carry by Claiborne. It brings up third down.
Dave Clawson talked with us about this. Got to stay away from 3 and outs, which of course you're going to say, Max, you never want, no offense ever wants 3 and outs, but especially when you're playing this high tempo Ole Miss offense, you got to help your defense out. Give them time to rest on the sideline and not give the opposing defense a 3 and out.
Showing blitz here. We'll see if they're coming or they drop back. They're coming. And down the sideline, in bounds, making the reception is Donovan Green, one of the great receivers in the ACC, and what a play there, beating Trey Amos.
He's got a 42-inch vert, and he utilizes it here. Well-timed jump. I don't mind. I don't think there's any push-off there. This is a great job by Donovan Green, winning those one-on-one matchups. You're going to have those on the outside. This is a talented Ole Miss secondary. Trey Amos there. He's going to find himself on an NFL roster not too far away. Credit the athlete that Donovan Green is, high-pointing that football and helping his quarterback out.
Green against Virginia had 11 catches for a career-best 166 yards last weekend and a touchdown. He missed all of last season. So he is certainly making some noise early about being the comeback player of the year in college football this season.
Without a doubt, and had a shortened camp too, was banged up in camp, only had about a week of practice time there, so even though it is week 3, getting his legs under him a little bit.
Hopefully Pegues all right. Look at this catch. Good throw.
Good throw, give your guy a chance. Looks like replays looking at the catch, making sure that left foot got down inbounds. He's gonna high point it, he's got control. Is that left foot inbounds? From that angle, don't see anything that's going to tell you otherwise.
So we play on, and these are the 2 of the 7 fastest tempo teams in all of college football. They're going for another big shot to Green. He almost pulled that in with one hand. And there is a penalty flag at the 40-yard line. I wonder if there wasn't some holding.
To the pass, holding.
Yep.
Defense number 25. 10-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
That's a safety, Trey Washington.
This is interesting. They're going to try to get Green on this downfield shot. Jaden Kennedy's in coverage. The guy they actually called was Trey Washington, covering the corner to that side, who was on a different Wake Forest receiver who wasn't even involved in the play. So poor by an Ole Miss secondary there, but there you can see early on they're trying to get Donovan Green down the field.
And Kennedy, who is in coverage, is the wounded Rebel. That's 2 players in back-to-back plays. The Geese and now Kennedy.
Wake Forest fans booing a little bit, and in a game like this with the pace being so fast, obviously fans, anytime they see that type of injury where he visually looks okay, you're going to question it, but hopefully Kennedy is okay. Both these defenses, the conditioning and the depth is going to be tested. Ole Miss certainly has that depth at really all 3 levels of their defense. For Wake, that's certainly more of a factor, but credit this offense staying on the field, allowing that Wake defense to get some rest.
You know, Wake's had a couple of tight games. The first game they took it to NC A&T, but a tight one obviously in the loss to Virginia. Their starters have gotten a lot more reps the early part of this season than Ole Miss. They're pulling everybody out at halftime.
Exactly. I think that's telling with the Jackson Dart turnover as well, as you just haven't had adversity in real life in a game situation. How do you respond?
Quick hit, and cutting it back up inside. Another first down inside the 30. Taylor Morin, their second leading receiver. Closing in on 180 career receptions. He's in the top 7 all-time at Wake in yards, receiving touchdowns, and receptions.
And his buddy Horatio Fields blocking in the slot made that play happen.
Look at this. That's a nice play design right there. Well done. They lay it off to the backup tight end, Cameron Height. And a nice pickup on first down, a gain of 5.
Right away, you can see the game plan from offensive coordinator Warren Ruggiero for Wake Forest. Give your quarterback easy answers on first and second down, find completions, tire out this defensive line.
Claiborne looking for somewhere to go and just dives ahead inside the 25, down to the 23. It'll bring up a 3rd down, and they're going to spot it closer to the 24. So that'll bring up a 3rd down and 4.
In a game like this, where you know you're going to have touchdowns, could be in 4-down territory.
Oh, I think you're right. You're not going to win kicking field goals. Great protection until the end. And then he got blasted, and that may have forced that overthrow because he had an open receiver. Chris Paul Jr., the one who put the lick on Bachmeier, and they're going to kick a field goal.
Trying to take the points, and you said it, Bachmeier took an absolute shot there. In a game like this, you get the 1-2 count. You got to either scramble or find a way to get the ball to your hands, and Bachmeier is a capable runner. I'm sure Dave Clawson wants on those 3rd and shorts for his legs. If it's not there, try to find an alleyway, which is easier said than done in this Ole Miss defense, to pick it up with your legs.
42-yard try by Matthew Dennis was 3 of 3 last week in the loss to Virginia. Good snap, good hold, and a good kick. So Wake Forest on the board. Hey, you got to hang around. Trying to get a takeaway. Convert it into points. Who knows? 7-3. You're watching Course behind what was the Pac-12, and there's more news on that front as it's out of the end zone we'll talk about later. Next weekend, jam-packed. Special Friday edition of CW Sports Saturday. We have NASCAR on the CW premiering under the lights at Bristol. Speaking of Washington State, they'll host San Jose State. Then on Saturday, the LIV Golf Team Championship and a doubleheader of college football action. You and I will be down in Dallas for TCU and SMU.
It'll be a good one, rivalry week.
And Purdue against Oregon State. We got a lot going on here at CW Sports. Nowhere to go on first down for Parrish. So now all of a sudden, they go down the field. In a minute 23, they score a touchdown. They force a punt. Ole Miss gets it back, marching down the field. But then a turnover. Couple of big plays. And now you look up on the board. It's under 4 minutes to go in the first quarter. And it's only a 7-3 game. All day to throw, and it's another touchdown here. I mean, blown coverage as blown coverage can get. And a touchdown for Ole Miss. My goodness.
You said it, Tom. This is a blown coverage on that side of the defense. You had an over route and a deep post over the top. A very popular concept for this Ole Miss offensive attack. Dave Clawson knew going into this game had to limit explosives. The Ole Miss offense responds quickly with an absolute shot downfield for a home run.
Jordan Watkins on the first throw of this series after a short yard on first down. And here's the point after. And it is good. So it went from 7-3 to 14-3 in a blink of an eye. And now that is 10 scoring drives this season. Less than a minute and 30 seconds.
And check this out. They're going to have Caden Lee from the outside working on the over. But then his buddy, Jordan Watkins, good to see him back in action. If you're an Ole Miss fan, out week 1, came back last week. He's a playmaker. Just a deep post over the top. The corner and the safety both go with the over. It's a miscommunication, and it's a byproduct of Charlie Weiss Jr. and Lane Kiffin. That alignment, that switch release where the outside receiver becomes the inside receiver, the inside receiver becomes the outside receiver. It confused this Wake Forest secondary, and they let a playmaker slip loose for 6.
So for Dart, he has 8 touchdowns now on the year. Has not thrown a pick. That was their first turnover we saw earlier in this quarter on the bobbled snap. So Wake Forest to get the football, and you got to find a way to start answering with points. Ball brought out to the 25. CW Game Night gets started on Thursday, October 3rd, first at 8. Raven Simone hosts a classic Hasbro crossword game, Scrabble. And then it's Trivial Pursuit, which we understand Max is a big leaguer. That's at 9 p.m., hosted by LeVar Burton. Game night, only on the CW.
Give me Trivial Pursuit any day over Scrabble.
Yeah, but you said only the sports.
Only sports, yeah, exactly. Exactly. I was the teenager when I was 12 years old that would do that sports version of Trivial Pursuit, and watching SportsCenter every day served me well.
Absolutely. First down, they're going to throw it. And stepping into the throw and missing a receiver. Some miscommunication, it looked like. What happened there, Max?
Yeah, you had a little full field read, concept there, working left to right. He scans back around thinking his receiver's going to break out. His receiver does not, stays in that zone, and that's tough, right? With the coverages that Ole Miss can mix up, man and zone, got to understand what the defense is giving you.
Take it to Claiborne, and then hit as he throws as a quarterback. Incomplete. And, I mean, they're here right now. And once more, it was Chris Paul Jr.
You can see they're trying to give the run fake at this point, though, haven't established any bit of a run game. Ole Miss elects to bring pressure. This is the tall task, right? You love to establish the run. It's difficult to do against this defensive line. When you're in 3rd and long, playbook condenses.
You've got 6 guys right up there on the line of scrimmage, the Rebels. And a penalty flag is thrown. That's a false start against Wake Forest.
False start. Offense, number 62. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
It's Devontae Gordon, their starting left tackle, making his 40th start at Wake Forest. It is staggering when you look at these two programs. of what NIL has done to the college landscape. You could not have two teams on more opposite ends of the spectrum than Ole Miss, Wake Forest.
Without a doubt. I got thoughts there. We'll let this play happen.
They try to run it on 3rd down and 15, and that'll be a loss of a couple of yards. The Geese, who limped off the last defensive stand, in on the tackle.
And speaking of that transfer portal, Walter Nolan, his buddy right there, and Tom, you highlighted him. The number 2 transfer portal get in all of the country, and it's really a difference maker. And you said Ole Miss is a program that's invested to the max level of what NIL means in terms of going out and plucking some of the best players in the country because they're committed from a resource standpoint. Wake Forest is a program, prided themselves on 4-year development type of guys. Like you said, it's just a tough contrast, but it sets up Ole Miss for a championship-type roster.
Micah Davis waiting on the punt. Fair catch right there at the 37-yard line. Our aerial coverage brought to you by the Lucas Oil Helicopter tonight. And look, you know, we had a very frank conversation with Coach Clawson about it. He's, look, my job is to try and get my team ready to win games. He wasn't alibiing, none of that. But it's just reality. And boy, is there a staggering difference between these two schools.
Without a doubt, Wake Forest's identity under Dave Clawson was, we're going to redshirt guys. It's wait your turn. It's depth. It's you'll play as a senior. You don't have that luxury now because if you guys don't play right away, you run the risk of them transferring.
They dump it off to Parrish Jr. out of the backfield. He's wrapped up, dropped at the 42-yard line.
And it's little plays like that where Jackson Dart's growth's really happened over the past couple years. You know, 7 for 7. Last week, 24 straight completions. This week, 7 for 7. Gets through his progressions and finds his check down.
And he's going to keep it himself. He faked a handoff, he faked a throw, and he picks up a first down in Wake territory to the 46-yard line.
Coaches say he's not even thinking this year. It was interesting last year, was in a quarterback competition. I was surprised Lane Kiffin went to the portal and got another quarterback. Jackson Dart had to win the job last offseason, but this year, playing free, 3rd-year starter at Ole Miss. He's got all the comfort in the world.
Play fake to Parrish, looking down the field, and it is bobbled and incomplete. Had an eye on Juice Wells down inside the 15-yard line.
Juice Wells made his first start last week, tries to high point the ball, similar post route to what we saw them run the touchdown on earlier. Credit Wake Forest for getting the arm in there, dislodging that football, Jamari Glasker.
First incompletion of the game. Glasker's a good player. So only a redshirt sophomore. They lost so much in the secondary Wake did from a year ago. Offense was a problem last year, not defense. And this is Harris. And that's an excellent tackle in the open field made by Capone Blue. Well done.
Yeah, you mentioned it, Tom. This Wake Forest secondary, Dave Clawson said in December of last year he was expecting to have his best secondary he's ever had at Wake Forest. But you lose one guy to the portal, you lose 2 guys to the NFL. A little bit unexpectedly, they've had to get reserves in there in place of those guys.
A 3rd down, and the slant, it is caught. And inside the 25, down to the 21 is Wells. And another first down for the Rebels after a gain of 20.
Seeing Jackson Dart being decisive, goes right back to Juice Wells. No hesitation, even with what maybe was a drop a few plays ago. No hesitation, and another weapon this Ole Miss offense can get to.
There's a drop by Harris. It'll bring up 2nd down and 10.
That's always the question, too, with this spread, borderline air raid type offense. Is it's great in the middle of the field. The second you get down to the red zone, things condense. You don't necessarily have the ability to run a deep post from this area in the field. So how does that change your play calling and your playbook? This would be an area, if I was Ole Miss, that you got to make sure you're on your P's and Q's.
Remember, they fumbled down here a short while ago. It was a high snap on their 2nd offensive drive of the game. And they're running this play clock all the way down to 1. You'll never see Ole Miss do that the rest of the year. They hand it off, huge hole for Parrish. Inside the 5, and a 2nd touchdown of the game for Henry Parrish Jr.
Anytime you see this Ole Miss offense slow down and then look back to the sideline to check the play, you know they see something with this defense that they want to take advantage of. They certainly do that, allowing Henry Parrish to go right up the middle, and we talked about it. That's right behind big Nate Kalepo, the left guard, Julius Buelow, the right guard, two guys they got from the portal. Again, common theme from the University of Washington, part of the best offensive line a year ago, now blocking for the stud running back, Henry Parrish.
22-yard touchdown run. Parrish returning to Ole Miss. Told you he started at Ole Miss, went to Miami, back at Ole Miss, and he's the main man right now.
Credit Micah Pettis, the right tackle right there as well, sliding down to his left and then working up to the second level. Gets that linebacker, and you give Parrish Jr. one crease, he'll take advantage and look at his eyes. He's saying, where are you coming from, defenders? It don't matter. I got the speed to outrun you.
What a start for Parrish Jr. Already a couple of scores. 63 rushing yards on 7 attempts.
And Tom, that was the position group for Ole Miss. If you had any sort of question, you never questioned the talent they have there. But in terms of figuring out what the depth looked like at that position, you have Henry Parrish Jr., you have Ulysses Bennett IV, as Ole Miss is having a time with the whiteout snow machine in September. But feels like they've got some clarity today. Henry Parrish out of the backfield. It's been effective.
Caden Davis was perfect on point after this year and 45 for 45 last year. He just missed one. That's the biggest news in Oxford, Mississippi they've had so far this year.
Wake will take any miss they can get.
The next generation of WWE superstars will have a new home when NXT moves to the CW beginning Tuesday, October the 1st. That'll be at 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 Central on the CW. So 20-3, we have just under 2 minutes to go here in the opening quarter. Bachmeier has hit on 4 of 8 for 49 yards. But no running game to speak of so far. 6 carries for Damon Claiborne and only 9 yards. Pretty nifty play design right there. Middle of the field opened up, and Bachmeier out across the 30 to the 32.
You're seeing that slow mesh point between Hank Bachmeier and the running back. It's a staple of Dave Clawson's offense. Slow mesh, trying to get that RPO run-pass option. Get that defender to commit. And work the direction he does not go.
Second down and 3. And get our first look at Tate Carney, redshirt sophomore back out of Davie County, North Carolina. 15 rushing attempts at 5 yards per carry to start this season. So now third down.
Don't always see Wake huddle up, but in big conversion downs, got to do what you got to do.
Bachmeier looking around, rolling. Throws to the sideline, and it's incomplete. So another stop for the Ole Miss defense. Horatio Fields, the intended target, but Hamilton was with him right on his hip.
It was exceptional coverage by Isaiah Hamilton and great football awareness as well. 3rd and 2, they go a little hitch and go, and he knows, man, I know you're probably going to come back and chop it down, try to get at the sticks and pick up a first down. He's right in his hip pocket the whole time. This is an Ole Miss secondary. They feel like they can roll with 4, maybe 5 corners out wide. Isaiah Hamilton getting it done there.
Micah Davis waiting on the punt. And a fair catch signaled for and cleanly handled at the 28. Let's go back to Mike and Michael in the studio.
All right, Tom, time for a CW Studio Update. Backyard brawl, seeing plenty of haymakers. Pitt with under a minute to go, down 34-31. Derek Davis with the touchdown. 6 plays, 77 yards, and $127. Max, you could take a deep breath. You could stop scoreboard watching your Panthers victorious.
That's back-to-back wins for Pitt. Exactly. Rallying late in the game. They shocked Cincinnati a week ago. They were down by what, 27-6?
Close wins. Had to come back that one. Get it done here. That's a huge rivalry game. And Pitt, man, in an ACC that's going to be logjam. You can just feel it right in the middle. There's going to be a lot of teams right around 500, 8 wins, 9 wins to come out with a rivalry out of conference wins big for Pitt.
First down, Aaron throw. Second down and 10. I tell you, Bill O'Brien's got something going on at Boston College. They hung in there and played pretty well today at number 6 Missouri. They got beat by 6, but they played well.
And they're physical. That's the most encouraging part, is they pushed around Florida State. That combination of a physical identity with Thomas Castellanos as a more running athlete quarterback, that's a good combo. BC's going to get some wins this year.
Catch made by Harris. And he is slammed out of bounds at the 36-yard line. It'll bring up a third down as we are under 25 seconds to go in the opening quarter. That means they have time to run about 7 plays.
And it looks like Lane's going to say, nope, we're going to get it to the end of the quarter. Saw 2 plays ago, Jackson Dart's first incomplete pass. Responds right there with an easy completion.
Down to 2-1, and that's that. Nearly 300 yards of offense in the opening quarter for the #1 offensive team in college football. You're watching CW Football Saturday.
One busted coverage, but even outside of that, it's been a lot of underneath stuff that then they've just ran for a big play. It's just tough, man. This Ole Miss offense executes, and Jackson Dart's in a full rhythm.
Third down and 2, and that's the running back direct snap to Parrish. And I don't think he got there. Needed to get to the 38-yard line, and he looks to be short. And look at this, even on their half of the field, they're going to go for it.
My read on this is a mentality. If you're Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin wants to be known as the best offense in the country, and to do that, you got to execute on downs like this.
And they give it to the big fella one more time, and I don't know. It's very, very close. Pegues, did he get it? They say he did. Boy, that was close.
Good luck knocking that guy backwards.
Yeah, no kidding.
Man, defensive tackle body, just get low. They do a good job, but that's just a lot of man. He gets help from his right tackle to push him forward, and Kiffin knows it. Honestly, reminds me of like the Eagles when they had the tush push anytime they had, short yardage plays. That's how this is for Ole Miss.
First down catch made on the far side by Juice Wells.
Interesting to see how Lane Kiffin does that in closer games, SEC-type games. Going forward in your own territory is bold in the first or early second quarter.
Yeah, I don't think he's doing that at Bama or Georgia, but maybe right through the hands of the intended target, and that is one good tight end they have here. You'll be watching him on Sundays.
Offense, number 50, 10-yard penalty, second down.
That's Jaden Williams Jr. But Caden Prieskorn, what a player he is at tight end.
You're going to see this on the left side of the screen at left tackle. He's trying to bend the edge. Must have got his left arm tangled in the defender. Cool story right there. Was a starter for Ole Miss 2 seasons ago. More of a backup role last year. Now cemented as the left tackle in an offensive line that we've obviously celebrated so far today.
Second down. And looking for the home run ball down the sideline and incomplete. Had a look at Jordan Watkins again. So it brings up third down for Ole Miss.
This is a guy who was banged up with a lower body injury to start the year. Jordan Watkins right there. That's awkward down, man. You never want to see that. He's wearing that sleeve for a reason. Kiffin's upset, wants a pass interference here. Evan Slocum on coverage. He knows it's a scary play.
And that is not a reviewable play. And down goes Dart. How about that?
We said it, Bryce Gaines. Those defensive tackles needed to play well. You said that from a run game perspective, but here it shows out. bull rush through the air gap, miscommunication from Ole Miss's offensive line, and then just too much power on the inside from Gaines comes up with the sack.
They're without their leading sack man in Jasheem Davis, second week in a row. He is not playing, and boy, do they miss him. That one angled out of bounds. And Wake Forest, its first possession of the second quarter, down 20-3. Joins the field against the series' top drivers. Sheldon Creed there in 10th. He drives that CW sports car. That comes 7 o'clock Friday night, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, only on the CW. Trying to get Claiborne going, and another Rebel injured.
Yeah, it was a big hit in the hole by Princely Umanmielen. Coming off the edge right there. Wonder if guys hit heads.
He's another transfer. 4 years as a Florida Gator.
Not only are they getting transfers, they're getting guys with double-digit starts. A lot of these guys have 20-plus starts by the time they walk in.
That ball batted down on a second down throwing attempt to the running back Claiborne. It brings up third down for Wake Forest.
You can see what
Washington.
What Wake Forest is trying to do. They're trying to get their best player, Damon Claiborne, involved. A run on first down. Hadn't had a catch so far to this point. It's a missed opportunity because you only have so many screen opportunities in a game where the defense isn't expecting it. That one had a chance if you could have got the ball above the defensive line with not a lot of Ole Miss defenders behind him.
Bachmeier's missed on his last 5 and complete in the first down. First time we've called the name of Taylor Morin, second leading receiver for the Deacs.
Had a lot of targets the first 2 games, right there on time, little in route, good ball security, and you're seeing why Hank Bachmeier ultimately won this job. He's got a good understanding with some of those pocket passes.
Looking again for Morin. Morin was looking for a flag, so was Bachmeier. Throws his hands in the air, wondering how was that not interference. I'd like to remind you, closed captioning for CW Football Saturday is brought to you by Skechers Hands-Free Slip-Ins. Good protection, and that had a little too much mustard on it. I mean, it's a catch that certainly Lodge will tell you he should have made, but that was thrown very hard in a short distance.
Bachmeier is upset. Being a former quarterback, anytime a quarterback has that type of reaction, you think some receiver ran the wrong route. I don't think he was yelling at his tight end for dropping that one. This is a receiver group that got some young guys trying to settle in.
But they've got some talented, skilled players, Wake Forest. Excellent running backs, very good wide receivers. They go back to the tight end, and that will be a 5-yard gain as Lodge hauls it in. And on fourth down, you're already down 20-3. It looks like Wake Forest will go.
Back-to-back, the same play.
Nope.
Had Lodge on third down, came right back to, or second down, came right back to him on third down. It's an interesting play call, though. If that's your main read, knowing that that route, that 5-yard out route's not necessarily going to pick up the fourth down. Usually when you see that, the third down, excuse me, usually when you see that play call, it's with the understanding that we might come back and go for it again on fourth down.
Ivan Mora drops back to punt. And he hammers this one. Inside the 15, out of bounds, inside the 15. Well done. 11:01 to go in the second, 23 Ole Miss. You're watching CW Football Saturday, presented by Verizon. Well, you heard Michael Bumpus in the pregame show. The last time Wake Forest beat a team ranked in the top 5 was 1946, a year after the conclusion, of course, of World War II. Harry Truman still the president. How about those gas prices?
Are you kidding me?
You pay more in taxes in California on that.
Literally. And that house purchase, must be nice.
So they knocked off the Tennessee Volunteers. Behind 20-3. Under 11 minutes to go until halftime.
if you're Dave Clawson. This is a critical possession. Don't let the game get completely away from you. Your defense has created a turnover and had a stop. Nice stop on the last drive. Carry over that momentum.
Loss of a yard on first down. They fake it to Parrish. You're looking down the field and a wide open receiver. And all the way out to the 31-yard line. Catch made by Caden Lee.
He does such a good job with that route. The defense is so scared of getting beat deep. You're going to have that all day. Seeing the arm strength and the timing from Jackson Dart as well.
Nice closing speed on the tackle there by Branson Combs.
They're really riding Henry Parrish in this game. Henry Parrish Jr. coming in. They like Ulysses Bennett the fourth, but Parrish, they're trying to get him more work, carry on that momentum.
Breaking a tackle and picking up a first down out across the 45-yard line is Trey Harris. Harris on the Biletnikoff watch list as there's an injured Demon Deacon. That's Capone Blue, redshirt senior out of San Diego, California, transferred in from Kent State.
Man, he's got a tough assignment. It's a weak Wake Forest, or thin Wake Forest secondary too.
Well, while we have a moment, we'd like to remind you, if you're looking for a cable news network that respects all Americans, and you have a new home with News Nation. See why News Nation is America's fastest growing cable news network. To find News Nation on your screen, just go to joinnn.com like I did today.
Look at that.
I was out there.
The man wears all sorts of hats. That's what I'm talking about.
There's no doubt about it. Xavier Walt was a reporter there. We had a great time early this morning, right in the heart of campus. Well, what a beautiful campus. They only have 5,000 plus students here. It's the smallest Power 4 school in the country.
It was fun driving in. It's its own little, dare I say, oasis when you drive through the campus gates.
Good to see the Blues okay, walking off under his own power.
Lane Kiffin puts opposing cornerbacks in such a tough spot. Not only do you need to defend the vertical game, but you have to tackle. They're not afraid to space you out, literally use every blade of grass. Glad to see him getting up. They're going to need him back.
Trayvon West, a redshirt freshman out of Piedmont, South Carolina, will replace Blue. Out of the backfield, and trying to haul it in was Parrish Jr. with one hand. And he took a hit from Nick Anderson.
That was a business decision. Jackson Dart let him down the field a little bit too much. Didn't put him on him. Put the ball on him. Credit the Wake Forest pass rush, too. Didn't allow Jackson Dart to just sit back there. Only rushing 4 on that play.
So a second down and 10 at the Wake 44-yard line. All day to throw, and I mean all day. And now begins to Brock Evan. He's got nothing but green in front of him. He's going to cross the 45 to the 44, and that'll be enough for a first down. Combs able to try and cut him off, but he picks it up with his legs.
And I thought he had the check down underneath to the tight end for 5 yards. Jackson Dart saying, no, I'm going to hang out, try to get the home run shot.
Well, Dart has thrown for over 9,000 yards. He's also rushed for over 1,000 yards. And, of course, the overwhelming majority of those numbers have come wearing the Ole Miss uniform. You see his numbers tonight, 237 passing yards, 1 touchdown. They have a couple of them on the ground, and the numbers continue to pile up. Enough for a first down. It's Harris.
It's just so easy. You have the hitch on the outside. You're calling a run play. If that corner's bailing, which they often are when you're facing against Trey Harris, you can hit that hitch all day long. Ole Miss subs this play, which then allows Wake Forest to do the same. They're going to take their time getting lined up.
Matt Jones checks into the game. First time we've called his name tonight.
Keep in mind, when Ole Miss looks back to get the play call, the microphone in Jackson Dart's helmet cuts off at 15 seconds for the play call.
Only a three-man rush and just not much there. There's Jones. And he is chopped down inside the 30 to the 28. It'll bring up second down. We talk about this offense. And again, you can say the competition, but the bottom line is they're putting up over 700 yards of offense. The most passing yards in the country, scoring per game. But we know that things will start to get a lot tougher once the SEC begins.
Without a doubt. You can say they haven't played anyone, but you can look across the country, and there's a lot of teams that are in the same tier as Ole Miss that also hadn't played anyone but struggled, or dare I say lost. So credit this team for continuing to execute.
Inside the 15, they find Lee again. And this is just playing pitch and catch right now for Ole Miss.
Continued into tempo as well.
7 minutes to go until halftime. Ole Miss looking to add 20-3 lead. There's Jones. He bounces off one tackler and keeps those feet moving. He's inside the 10, down to the 7-yard line.
I think if this Ole Miss team allows, they can go fast and continue to execute too, because they have the depth as well. You're having guys pushing each other. You have multiple receivers. You have multiple offensive linemen. You have multiple running backs. So when you get your opportunity, you know you got to show out. You can't get relaxed, because if you are relaxed and you don't execute, you're going to get replaced. I think that depth is certainly an added element that Lane Kiffin has not necessarily had in years past.
B.J. Williams is the injured Demon Deacon. Take a look ahead to next week.
Baby.
For the Iron Skillet. TCU, they were the story in college football 2 years ago when they reached a national championship game. Took a step back last year, but off to a good start this year. And, of course, Preston Stone and SMU got hurt in the last game where SMU got beat. Otherwise, they'd be undefeated going into this weekend.
And it looks like they're going to go with the other quarterback, too. If you're SMU, talk about another team that's taken advantage of the NIL landscape.
Yep.
That'll be a fun one. Feels like in years past, SMU's been looking up to TCU. Now that SMU's in the ACC, Power 4 football, they're not taking a backseat to anyone. That'll be a fun one.
Boy, great energy in that place next week. Those two schools do not like one another. Of course, the story there is Sonny Dykes was the coach at SMU, and he left there to go to TCU, about 20 miles down the road to Fort Worth.
And there's some people that make the argument that that invigorated the alumni base of SMU to get involved and say,
You're right.
Enough of this stuff. Enough of this stuff. We want to play right there with them. We're right there with them. We're done.
Parrish already a couple of rushing touchdowns in the game. Gets a first down carry. Close to the 5. Bring up second down and goal. Trevor Scales, what's happening down there, my man? You hiding from us?
Oh, no, not hiding from you at all. You see the breakneck pace that this Ole Miss offense is moving at, and it's impossible to simulate in practice. Defensive coordinator Brad Lambert has attempted to do so by literally turning his back to the offense during practice and finding a way to scramble and get back aligned and execute a play soon thereafter. Again, impossible to simulate the speed, but they have tried their best to sort of get right before kickoff today.
14th play of the drive, and Parrish stopped at the 3. It'll bring up third down and goal. Trev, we miss you, man. I mean, you blew out of the booth, with about 30 minutes to kick. And now we finally hear from you.
Hey, listen, I am, again, trying to keep up with both of these offenses that have made a desperate effort to make sure there is literally no time in between plays. I'm trying to kind of log each and every rush as they go, but these cats are rolling, and that's the most impressive part about the conditioning of both defenses as well, making sure that they are able to stay on the field and only match personnel when those changes occur.
Yeah.
I know Trev worked out at the facility yesterday, but he's probably getting his workout in today.
Steps, amazing.
He can still embarrass some players. Third down and goal. Rolling, taking it himself. And did he get to the end zone? It's very close. He went into a dive. And a flag comes in late. Was that a helmet-to-helmet hit near the end? I tell you, that's tough for a defender there. I mean, if the quarterback's not going to slide and they're going to dive to try and get to the end zone, what are you supposed to do?
Exactly. Let's listen in on here. Big hit. Oh, baby, another look right here. You're right, Tom. I mean, he's leading with the helmet.
Was short of the line to gain. After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 2 of the offense, his first of the game, for removing his helmet. 15-yard penalty. It's 4th down.
Dart's like, you're talking about me. He said, I got hit in the head.
And he came up chirping a little bit. That's probably where they're going to get him. That was
Is he bleeding?
On his nose. And the eye plaque's all smeared away as well.
Where's the cut man?
Oh, they're going to get him. He took his helmet off, so that's what that ref's saying. His helmet did not necessarily come off. He took it off on his own. You can't do that. That's an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. That's a little throwback Jackson Dart right there. That reminds me of his USC days when he was a youngster and no regard for his body. He's obviously matured into more of an NFL quarterback, knows how important he is for Lane Kiffin's offense, but a throwback play route right there, trying to get him in for 6.
So it is a 4th and goal, but with the penalty, they back him all the way out.
Timeout. Ole Miss.
To the 15. Lane Kiffin, he is hot about that shot his quarterback just took. What do you think? Mike Mothershed, what do you think?
Well, the key here is that he's not a sliding quarterback coming in feet first. If he does, now he's going to get some protection. But he doesn't slide feet first. So the only kind of targeting that you could have would be targeting with the crown of the helmet. And as I look at that play, I don't see any crown of the helmet there at all, any contact with the crown.
Get another look here, too. No shot. Actually, good job by Wake Forest. Quincy Bryant coming in there with the shoulder. He's trying to. Another rule to keep your eye out for, too. You saw Lane Kiffin there with the iPad. You cannot use the replay capabilities of the iPad to show the refs. That is also a 15-yard penalty. I don't think that's what Kiffin was doing, or else he would have been called for it. But if you're sitting at home, you might think, hey, show the ref exactly what's happening.
32-yard field goal try by David. Pacific Life, creating financial security for over 150 years. Lane Kiffin, 49 years young, grew up in Minnesota, well-traveled. Got a chance to be the head coach, of course, at Tennessee, and that's even disregarding his time with the Oakland Raiders. He went from there to Florida Atlantic, was under Nick Saban as offensive coordinator for 4 years, fired the week of the national championship game, and then took over 4 years ago at Ole Miss. You know, it's interesting. You hear people use that word polarizing. I don't think there's anything polarizing at all about Lane Kiffin. He is open and direct about what his former life used to look like. Him and Steve Sarkisian, well documented. You know, neither one has had a drink in a number of years now. They were very young. They were out in Southern California. They were having fun, and they were kicking everybody's tail. But as the years have gone by, he's not had a drink in 4 years. He has his kids that have come back to live with him down in Oxford, Mississippi. He is a very, very interesting guy, and I don't think the kind of guy now that a lot of people might think he is.
Without a doubt. And he's obviously the head coach that I signed to play for. As there's a completion for Wake Forest. Head coach that I signed to play for, and what impresses me the most is he's really reinvented himself. I mean, you mentioned the human side of things, but as a head coach, too, when he was younger, he was one of the best play callers. That was always the line you would say. He gave up play calling duties. Now Charlie Weiss Jr. calls plays. He used to be a pro-style guy. He was a tried and true under center play action guy. Now he's a spread up-tempo guy. Credit him for reinventing himself with the times of college football, and he's found himself right here in national contention.
You know, it's interesting. We were talking about him getting the job at Tennessee, where he only went there for 1 year in 2009. Well, in 2008, Dave Clawson was the offensive coordinator for Tennessee. They didn't have a good year. And when Kiffin took over, and Clawson was telling us yesterday, he said, I knew it was coming. He said, the first time I ever met Lane Kiffin, he told me, we're making a move.
When I was prepping for that coaches meeting, I was like, I hate to ask you, Coach Clawson, but I got to because I knew they crossed paths.
Good throw out to midfield. And the catch is made by Taylor Morin for a first down.
Look at the pocket movement by Hank Bachmeier. Settles in there. Good pass protection. The lump cam getting it done right there. Dig route. Only thing stopping that is they don't get in the way.
But Bachmeier is just smothered. Chris Paul Jr. was there, along with Jared Ivey.
And they bring pressure, like you said. Chris Paul Jr. coming from that will linebacker spot. They don't diagnose it. It's hard enough to block the front four guys. When you start adding in a linebacker with it, good luck. And Tom, just to put a bow on that last comment too, you better believe with Texas rolling and Steve Sarkisian and Lane Kiffin, Ole Miss rolling, they're buddies, they go way back. You better believe they both have that competitive juice that they could see each other later down the road.
Nice play call there. Little swing pass out of the backfield, and that is Carney for the first down. Nice drive here with 2:39 to go until halftime.
If you're Wake Forest going into half, want to find some sort of offensive momentum. Bachmeier, when he's at his best, when he's getting the ball out of his hands quickly. The second that he has to hop in the pocket, it doesn't end well.
Remember now, there is a 2-minute timeout in college football. So we're down to 2:14. They're going to have to snap it before the 2-minute timeout. Play clock down to 5. And here they come after Bachmeier. He's trying to spin away from trouble, but a host of white jerseys wrap him up, taking us to the 2-minute timeout. And an injured player on the field. We'll tell you about that when we come back. You're watching CW.
His impact all night long. It took no time for him to get involved with that chunk run play there, and then the busted coverage in the back end by Wake Forest allowed Ole Miss receiver Jordan Watkins to get free. Wake Forest defense came up with a couple stops, forced field goals, gave him a shot, but just too much defensively from Ole Miss as well.
It's a 23-3 game, and Claiborne checks back in. And a timeout is called by... Is that by Ole Miss? It is. Ole Miss wants the ball back.
They want the ball back. I was at the timeout. Jackson Dart was doing a full warm-up routine.
You know, Dave Clawson came up with an interesting note the other day in our conversation with him, talking about, you know, the extra timeout now with a 2-minute timeout in college football. And he threw a number out at us. He said, you guys realize when a team gets the ball, 2.5 minutes to go in a half, 85% of the time, the half does not end with them having the football.
It was a staggering number, and I think just the average football fan, the second you see 2 minutes left, it's like, all right, take the time off, wind the clock down. But especially with playing an Ole Miss offense like this, they can score in 30 seconds, so you just got to play normal football.
Blown dead before it ever started. Penalty flag comes in.
False start. Offense, number 72. 5-yard penalty. Third down.
That's Eric Russell at right tackle.
It's not insignificant either when you're flirting with field goal range. Obviously, Wake Forest needs touchdowns here, but you're right in fringe field goal range as well. Right here, it's been a little while since we've called Donovan Green's name, number 11 for Wake Forest. Look his way. Top of the screen.
Four-man rush, and they dump it off to Claiborne, and he's able to get a little bit of the yardage back, but not much. He's inside the 40 to the 37. This would be roughly a 50, almost a 55-yard field goal from here. And another timeout called by Ole Miss. 1:47 to go until halftime. Let's go to Mike. And Mike, back at our studios.
Oh, Tom, coming up, it is the halftime show. It is presented by Subaru. Love, it's what makes Subaru Subaru. Made reference to him. Michael Bump is sitting right next to me. He's got they got a big smile on his face because we had a couple rivalry matchups, including one he used to play in that went his team's way. Details on that. Florida State, they continue to struggle, and some real significant news in the Pac-12. What it means for the league, that's still to come at the half.
All right, fellas, thank you very much. Florida State 0-3. I mean, they could get nothing going on offense today. They averaged 1.5 yards per carry against Memphis on the ground.
It's across the board, too. I know it's easy to blame DJ Uyunglele, but you look at, I mean, it's sluggish across the board, all 11 men on offense.
I mean, they gave up long scoring drives. Here's a 4th down try. Bachmeier rolling and throws. What a catch! What a catch made by Morin. He took a big lick, but able to hang on. And there are 2 injured Rebels down on the field. And boy, Claiborne is really hot. This has been going on all night long. I mean, there have been more Rebels that have laid down, if you will. And I don't mean to insinuate that they're faking an injury, but when you're playing a hurry-up offense, we've seen teams do this in the past.
And we've seen it 5 or 6 times today. And so for the viewers at home, when Wake Forest gets that big play, the skepticism is for Ole Miss to be able to sub. That injury timeout allows them to do that right there. You're seeing Isaiah Hamilton. I thought in real time he got away with potentially a targeting call right there, going to the head or neck area. Credit Morin for coming down with this catch. And I think Hamilton's going to regret going for that hit in hindsight. If he made a play on that ball, that could have been a pick 6 the other way.
Well, again, Pegues, he's down for the 3rd or 4th time just himself here tonight. And every time he walks off under his own power. Of course, you need a forklift to get him off the field.
It was an area of emphasis in years past, too, of trying to remove, hopefully he's okay, but reading between the lines and understanding in football, if they are gamifying this here, you can review it, the conference can review it after the fact, potentially come down with a punishment, but it's just hard to do, right? Who's going to tell a kid he's not injured or not banged up?
That's right.
It's very subjective.
And that's why I didn't want anybody to think that that's what we're saying up here in the booth. But it has happened 6 times already in this game. And every time after Wake Forest gets a big play in a 1st down.
And every time he's back in 2 plays later.
Clock running down to 1:15. 1st down at the 18-yard line. Claiborne breaks it to the outside, tries to turn that corner. He will. He can run now. That's some speed shown off right there. And there is a penalty flag right around the line of scrimmage, 3 or 4 yards beyond it. Makes you wonder what this might be.
When you look at this roster, Damon Claiborne, he's the one guy going into this game. I was thinking, he can play for this Ole Miss offense. Across the board, Ole Miss is loaded at every position. But Claiborne, he's a stud back. Dave Clawson said he's the best back. We're right up there with the best that he's had. And that's a coach who's had Kenneth Walker, starting running back for the Seahawks. Was a Wake Forest Demon Deacon for 2 years before going to Michigan State. Claiborne's in that conversation. You're seeing the speed right there.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, offense number 11, continuing to participate without a helmet. 15-yard penalty. It's 1st down.
Boy, that's a killer there.
It's going to be on the left side of your screen as we have the ump cam. Once your helmet comes off, you have to be done. You can't keep playing. You commend the effort, but unfortunately, the second your helmet comes off for player safety, you have to be done, and you have to have the awareness to step out of the play. That is a tough call if you're Dave Clawson, because what are you going to do, Tom? Coach a guy not to be aggressive in that scenario? It's an unfortunate sequence of events.
Great look from that ump cam. They were inside the 10-yard line. Back to the air, Morin once more, and he's inside the 20. Nearly was able to stay on his feet. Clock continues to run. 55 and counting.
We're seeing Bachmeier go to his helmet. His offensive coordinator can talk to him.
And there's another player walking off the field.
For a 10-second runoff, which Wake Forest has declined. It's 2nd down, and the clock will start on the snap.
Jared Ivey lost his helmet, apparently. Tell you what, Wake Forest gets a touchdown here, man, and all of a sudden, it's a 10-point game. But, of course, that's easier said than done. Or a 13-point game, forgive me. Make it 23-10 if they could get in. Good coverage right there by Amos. So now it's 3rd down and 11.
Have to think you're in 4-down territory. Field goal doesn't give you anything. I like looking for 2 men. Donovan Green, your receiver. Or if you're in 4-down territory, can you get a little swing pass or check down to Claiborne, your running back?
And And a flag comes down from the far side.
Sideline warning. Ole Miss, their first of the game. It's third down.
Boy, and Lane Kiffin has to grab a hold of one of his coaches there, who right after that call was made is 3 yards out on the field.
I was thinking that too. Lane Kiffin's been known for running after touchdowns, 40-yard sprints on the sideline. Now he's got his warning. Can't do that anymore.
All right, third down and 11. They need to get to the 8-yard line for a first down, and they're going to run it to Claiborne. Again, he is wrapped up, tripped up. That was quite a play right there, made by Chris Paul Jr. There is a flag down, and will that be a hold?
Anytime you have those outside zone run plays where you're asking your offensive line to sprint laterally, it's a lot of movement. See some holding penalties there from time to time.
Still waiting on the call.
Holding offense number 54. That penalty's declined. It's fourth down.
So fourth down and 11.
They're going to get Matt Golban here, the left guard, the left side of your screen right there. Again, that outside zone play gets the Ole Miss defender, Chris Paul Jr., right around the collar. Can't do that. It's tough with so much speed from this Ole Miss defense. You get them going laterally. If you're just behind a single step, you're in that range to be guilty of a holding penalty.
Clock is running, and Wake Forest not getting up to that line of scrimmage here, in no hurry at all on this fourth down and 11.
Especially with their 3 timeouts.
Well, they're going to let it run down and kick a field goal. Well, denying the opposition the end zone, that's a story for 3 teams in college football this year, and they're all ranked in the top 5. Ole Miss has allowed 6, likewise for Georgia, likewise for the Ohio State Buckeyes.
This could be the difference for Ole Miss this season, too. Lane Kiffin's had great offenses in the past. Matt Corral, obviously Jackson Dart the past couple years, but their defense and what they got in the portal, in the experience, in the depth, also their schedule, which I'm sure we'll get to later in the game, they avoid both Alabama and Georgia, I believe. Like, this has all the makings of this Ole Miss team going for a run here.
You know, Nick Saban had an interesting opinion of Ole Miss. He felt like the last couple of years, and last year they lost to both Alabama and Georgia, that they did not have the defensive front or the offensive front to be the elite SEC team. With all those changes you just referred to, they feel like they're a lot closer now. Matthew Dennis. This will be a 38-yard field goal try. Good snap, good hold, and a good kick right down the middle. So in the final seconds of the opening half, Wake Forest gets 3 to make it a 23-6 game.
I'm interested to see what they do here. Most teams would squib in this scenario, but Ole Miss's offense is so explosive. If you squib kick right here and the ball finds itself at the, call it 35-yard line, you're one chunk play away. Obviously, only 13 seconds left. But interested to see if they how they approach this.
.372 yards of offense for Ole Miss in this first half, 155 for Wake. Dart 16 out of 21 for 258 yards and a touchdown.
Another efficient day at the office.
Carlson comes out to kick off. And it is a squib kick caught at the 22-yard line and then brought all the way out, as you just said, to the 40, the 43-yard line. So now all of a sudden you have 6 seconds left, maybe for a Hail Mary.
Yeah, and I think you probably needed more around. If he went down initially, you probably need 8 or 9 seconds to have a full chunk play down the field, get yourself in field goal range, and then ultimately kick it. But this is every scenario. You never know if you're Ole Miss when this play, down the road, you have to execute this scenario. But I don't think there is enough time to get the full 20, 15-yard chunk into field goal range and then do another and then have enough time to get the field goal as well.
Let's say pull off the old Boise State hook and ladder from that.
This is the opportunity to rep it. You do it every week in Friday walkthrough.
Yeah, that was at Fiesta Bowl back in 2007. So back them up 15 yards, back them up 5 yards, make it 1st and 15 on what will be the final play, one would assume, of this opening half.
Then again, knowing Lane Kiffin, if whatever play he has up his sleeve for worst case scenario situation, he probably doesn't want to show it right now.
I think you're right. They're just going to hand it off. Parrish takes a handoff. He is out to midfield and wrapped up right there. And that's the way the opening half comes to an end. Hey, Wake Forest is hanging in there.
They're battling.
I mean, statistically being overwhelmed. But it's a 23-6 game at halftime in favor of the 5th-ranked Rebels. Trevor Scales standing by downstairs, waiting to be joined momentarily by Lane Kiffin. Of course, Kiffin lost his father, legendary, long-time NFL defensive coordinator.
Taylor Moore has 7 targets in the first half. Wouldn't be surprised if they try to activate him again on this first drive in the second half.
So the Demon Deacons will get the football, and they'll start at the 25-yard line. You look at Ole Miss so far this year. They have outscored in the first half their opponents 106-9. You look at some of the numbers. Not much on the ground for Claiborne.
A number that stuck out to me, too, not only the penalties, but the 3 sacks, too, from Hank Bachmeier. Felt like it came at costly times, which, was tough and a critical element going against this Ole Miss defensive line. But they absolutely killed drives. And when they did have chunk plays and momentum, the penalties and the sacks especially were drive killers.
Took a long time to hand that ball off. Penalty flag comes flying in from the secondary. Claiborne with a big gain, but it looked like he fumbled the ball, and Ole Miss has recovered the ball. But there is a penalty flag down. How about waiting and waiting and waiting on that handoff? And that opened up a big hole for Claiborne, his best run of the night.
And usually when you see them waiting and waiting that long, you always run the risk of illegal offensive linemen downfield. They're obviously taught to hang in the backfield, knowing their quarterback's reading it, but it's tough.
Holding. Defense, number 28. 10-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
That's Jaden Kennedy.
So not the penalty I thought, but they're going to get the safety coming down. Kennedy with the defensive holding coming into this game. That slow mesh from Bachmeier to Claiborne in the backfield. They're just waiting for these linebackers and these safeties to commit one direction. Seen a hold right there in the interior as well. Such a unique concept. Most offenses in the country do not do that long mesh point.
Regular handoff this time to Claiborne. And he's up close to the 35-yard line. A gain of 3. It'll bring up 2nd down and 7 after the penalty against Ole Miss. Play fake to Claiborne, and looking down the sideline, receiver fell down. And a flag is down in the secondary. That was Deuce Alexander out there. And this may be another penalty, maybe, against Ole Miss.
They were fist fighting all the way down the field.
Holding. Defense, number 5. 10-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
That's John Saunders Jr., transfer from Miami of Ohio, a starter at strong safety.
You see Sanders right there in the in the slot. He's a guy that played corner at his previous school, Miami of Ohio. That's a common theme with these safeties for Ole Miss. Former corner background, which allows them in coverage situations to be strong. It's a unique defensive philosophy. They do not have a dedicated nickel player. All three of those safeties will rotate down into that nickel spot.
Automatic first down, double pump to Alexander, and he's back to the line of scrimmage. Plays beautifully on defense by the Rebels. Second down and 10.
Ole Miss has done a good job sniffing out those screens. Wake Forest has called a few of those in this game. None of them have popped.
Same thing. Hold it, hold it, hold it. But that did not fool anybody this time around as Ivy was all over it. Gain of a yard. It brings down third down and 9. Trevor Scales.
Fellas, you talk about that slow mesh concept, and Max, remember when speaking with Coach Ruggiero for Wake, it was about making sure that you watch exactly how the linemen behave. Whether or not that run-pass option is there is determined upon how close they are to the line of scrimmage throughout that mesh point that's held for so long.
Third down and 9. Good protection. And a throw down to the near sideline. And caught! Holy Moses! What a catch by Horatio Fields. And that is a first down, or is it? Was that ball knocked loose? They're saying incomplete.
See, does he come down with it?
Oh,
his right
my
leg.
bad.
As a receiver right there, you're taught to kill the feet when you're around the sideline. Give your quarterback, help your quarterback out, kill your feet, allow yourself to toe tap there on the sideline. I like the way Fields gave his quarterback room to that sideline to throw into the vacated grass, and a good job of late hands there. But even if you're going to go late hands, also got to go late feet too. Try to get those in.
So the drive stalls after a couple of penalties kept it alive. And a fair catch at the 9-yard line. First possession for Ole Miss in this second half. Dart and company on the way out. You're watching CW Football Saturday presented by Verizon. Just announced this week a new endeavor, The Grounds, a 100-acre development project. They're going to have retail and entertainment, restaurants and bars and condos and all kinds of things. It really will bring together Wake Forest and the city of Winston-Salem.
That'll be awesome.
Oh, it'll be fantastic.
Show up here morning on a game day and hang out the whole day.
Parrish was lined up in the backfield. They give it to Caden Lee, and he runs across the 20 on first down. Worst field position of the day to start a drive for Ole Miss.
Yeah, you're seeing Ole Miss. They're offensively, they're getting it done across the board. Jackson Dart efficient tonight, not as efficient as last week, but still a great stat line there. Really all phases of this offense. The only guy we really haven't called is Caden Prescorn, their tight end. Wouldn't be surprised if he gets involved this third quarter.
Gain of 13 on first down. They put it to the far side. That's Harris, and he tiptoes his way along the sideline to pick up a couple of yards.
We see almost every team run some sort of variations of RPOs, run-pass options. We don't see a lot of teams like on that last play that they're lining up Harris hugged up right against the sidelines. Defensively, it limits what you can do from a coverage standpoint, and offensively, just gives you a lot of spacing.
Out of the backfield, they get it to Parrish, and a nice tackle made out in the open field by Trey Washington. Two-yard gain. It'll bring up third down and long. Jackson Dart, 177 consecutive passes now with in and out of interception. The last interception he threw was against Georgia last November. He's in trouble here, but able to get it away. It's intercepted on cue. Are you kidding me? He just breaks the school record on the prior pass and throws an interception to Dart for the first time since the loss to #1 Georgia last year.
There's Ole Miss fans sitting at home saying that's what we call an announcer curse right there. Jackson Dart is trying to make a play right there, and Dylan Hazen working from his left to right comes in with a big interception. Credit that linebacker making a play in space. Jackson Dart holding on the ball for a little bit too long. It just fades on him a little bit. Too much air under it. I know that Mark, when I played for Lane Kiffin, was 1 interception every 100 attempts. That was always good level quarterback player, great level quarterback play. The fact that he got a 174 is exceptional, but right on cue. We jinxed him. He threw a pick.
We apologize, Mr. Dart. No ill will intended whatsoever.
It's always the fine line when you have a quarterback like Jackson Dart. You like when he makes plays and is using his legs, but it can't come at the expense of throwing turnovers.
Dumping out to Carney out of the backfield. That's been a good play on the far side and now on this near side. That's a first down. Gain of 11.
Force these linebackers and safeties to tackle in space. And rather than just pinning their ears back, being able to rush or drop comfortably in their zone, utilizing the running backs in the pass game is just a unique element.
First down and 10 inside the 35 for the Demon Deacons. And they hold it. Now going up top, close to the end zone, and it's overthrown. Outstanding coverage out there by Trey Washington.
You said it. Phenomenal coverage. Ole Miss didn't have a secondary member further than, 8-9 yards off the ball. It was pure man coverage, and Trey Washington, who his defensive coordinator, Pete Golding, calls him one of the smartest players he's ever coached, said, hey, when I get a head man job someday, I'm hiring Trey Washington as my DC.
Yep. Played over 4 seasons, 50 games for the Rebels. And another great defensive coverage play, this time by Paul Jr. We've seen him rush a passer. We've seen him drop back in coverage in this game.
They got a rotation at that other linebacker spot opposite of T.J. Daugherty. Chris Paul Jr. transferred from Arkansas, and his buddy Kyrie Coleman from TCU. There's some depth at that linebacker position, and the athleticism jumps out as well.
Play clock down to 12. Third down and 10. And a blitz coming. He gets it away and overshoots. He had Carney. If he could have laid that in there, that might have been, probably would have been a touchdown.
He gets pressure, but as a quarterback, you got to hang in there. Got to find a way to complete this ball, especially on screen passes. Can't let that throw float on you. They're going to go back and look at this film, and there's a few screen plays in this game that they wish they could have back. That one's there. You catch that, you got a receiver blocking on the outside. That one might score.
Well, they're going to go for it on 4th down and 10. Field goal try would be around 52 if you gave it a go from here, and you're down 23-6. 4th down, good protection, throw down the middle of the field, and it's broken up, and a flag comes in. Kennedy has already been called a couple of times back there tonight. And this one will be a 15-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
Defense, number 28. 15-yard penalty, an automatic first down.
This is a great throw by Hank Bachmeier. It's accurate, giving his guy a chance to make a play. But their fist fight in Kennedy doesn't allow for that right arm to get up from the receiver, Taylor Morin, who's been the favorite target of Bachmeier today. That's great timing right there, especially when you're facing this Ole Miss defense. Getting the ball to your hands, I like the concept. You come away with the favorable penalty if you're Wake Forest.
Ball at the 19-yard line. Here's Carney. He tries to break it to the outside and is tripped up by Suntaran Perkins. First time we've called his name tonight, a 1-yard gain. Well, they have so many talented players on this Ole Miss defense. I mean, guys that have transferred in from some big-time programs. Lockmeyer, and is that ball intercepted? No, or is it? We wait and see. There is a penalty flag down, and they're saying it was an interception by Chris Paul Jr. We were just talking about him a moment ago. This is a big call right here. If it's against Wake, obviously, Ole Miss gets the ball. If it's against Ole Miss.
Foul. Hands to the face. Defense, number 51. 15-yard penalty. An automatic first down. Correct.
Xavier Harris called for the penalty. That's 8 of them now against Lane Kiffin's team tonight.
This is tough. You're having 15. Jared Ivey coming around the edge. We've called his name a couple times. And then what a play right there by Chris Paul Jr. Again, another name we've been calling a bunch today. We said it a couple plays ago. The athleticism at the linebacker spot. That's a missed opportunity from Xavier Harris. And Coach Kiffin's kicking himself. That's been a little bit of a theme today for Ole Miss, is you have great plays, but you have costly mistakes paired with them.
That's 3 penalties on this drive alone to keep this drive alive, and the ball now sits inside the 10. Here's Carney off to the left side, picks up 3. Second down and goal from just outside the 6. And down on one knee is Isaiah Hamilton. They're going to come out and check on him, and he's going to leave the field. He's hurt.
And it's that same topic we talked about in the first half.
And, you know, look, we never said for a second, as you get a look at our aerial coverage brought to you by the Lucas Oil Helicopter. No one is saying, and you said it best, we're not saying that these guys are not hurt. No one has said that tonight. It's just happened a lot. And that's just a statement of fact. It has happened well over a half a dozen times. Oh, boy. All the way back. And able to get back there and cover it up is Bachmeier, but that's a big, big mistake right there.
We saw that with Ole Miss in the first half. They were driving in that end zone, and then it was a bad snap just like that one. They're going to dial up. It may have been a quarterback run on that play, too. I wonder if Bachmeier is trying to pre-play the play a little bit. Obviously, it's a high snap, but priority first is get the ball. And a good drive, good opening drive in the second half for Wake Forest. You can't stub your toe against a great team like Ole Miss with a mistake like that.
It's a second down, loss of 14, so now it's 3rd and goal. And the catch is made, still on his feet inside the 10, inside the 5, and down to the 3-yard line is a running back, Claiborne. Boy, he's quick. And we have another injured Ole Miss player out of the 20-yard line.
There's not many mismatches that Wake Forest offense has on this Ole Miss defense, but that is one of them. Damon Claiborne out of the backfield on a middle linebacker. He's quicker, more athletic, and you can see the explosiveness right there. I like Wake's ability. Hey, it doesn't have to be always running inside zone to get the ball in his hands. Hank Bachmeier, find the check down and get your playmakers the rock.
All right, this is a 4th and goal now. We have another player injured. Trying to get to the sideline there before this 4th and goal.
And it's hard not to ignore that these have come up, too, when Wake Forest gets a chunk play. I would be irate if I'm Dave Clawson.
And he gets almost to the sideline and then sits down.
And you have to wonder what Lane Kiffin told him right there as he's walking by. That's the hard part. If you're Dave Clawson, there's really nothing you can do about it in game.
That's right.
Unless if you're that ref by Kiffin, again, they're pointing his shoulder and hopefully his shoulder's okay. But unless you heard something, or some of these refs that are around the ball are hearing chatter, hearing players say, hey, it was a chunk play, we need a break. But obviously a tough situation if you're Wake Forest.
All right, this is 4th down and goal from the 4-yard line. Saw the note. The Rebels have not allowed a touchdown this season. Not one. They've given up 4 field goals. 4th down and goal. Bachmeier in the pocket. Throws to the end zone. It's incomplete. And the drive stalls inside the 5-yard line. Boy, that was a tough throw to try and make for Bachmeier. That was good coverage.
And I thought he had a lane to step up in this pocket, too. It's great protection, phenomenal coverage. I thought right there he could have had a lane to get through. Welcome back to CW Football Saturday. Ole Miss up 23-6. And we look back at that 4th down play. Hank Bachmeier, they're going to go a full progression concept. He's got 1 guy, 2 guys, 4 guys, 5 guys, all covered. But right here, he had an open lane to run it. It's good coverage by Ole Miss. He's working his whole progression right to left. Got to utilize your legs. He's a willing and capable runner. Missed opportunity there for the Demon Deacons.
First down carry inside their own 5 after the 4th down stop by Parrish Jr. Picks up a couple of yards. 20 points in the opening quarter for Ole Miss. They've had 3 in a quarter and nearly a half since. Dart dumps it off to Parrish. goes close to the first down marker. It looks like, well, we'll see where they spot it. Looks like the 13-yard line. And I believe that makes him a yard short, third down. He will pick up the first down. Out across the 15 to the 17-yard line.
Man, you can feel the tempo from Ole Miss. Didn't allow Wake Forest to line up, take advantage of not having leverage on the left side of the left side of the offense. Easy run for a third down pickup.
Fake the run into the air. Beautifully defended right there at the last moment by Kadarius Kelly. Maybe he just shielded that ball. No, he tipped it.
He tipped a good play right there by Tony. That's a route we've seen 3 times from Ole Miss today, and they've ran it each time right when they're in that 15-yard line, that 15-yard flood route. This time to Jordan Watkins, can't come down with it.
Second down at 10 for the Rebels, leading 23-6. Back to the ground, and another big gain for Parrish. First down all the way up to the 32-yard line. That'll be a gain of 15.
Haven't called Matt Jones's name tonight, but he's another back in that rotation.
17 carries, 107 yards. Ball on the ground. Flag comes in. Ole Miss recovered it.
Not going to stay in the rotation if you don't have ball security. Looked like it was Quincy Bryant. Wanted that left sideline get involved.
Personal foul, face mask, defense, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
A little toss sweep to Jones on the right side. Like a Pettis right tackle in front of him, and then yeah, right there as you're trying to get the ball out. Nick Anderson at safety coming in. I don't know if that looks like face mask to me, but may have caused a little bit of the reason the football got dislodged.
Matt Jones checks into the backfield. As a penalty makes an automatic first down, they fake it to Jones and throw it right down the middle of the field. And the catch is made down to the 31-yard line by Caden Lee. And they are now all of a sudden the Wake Forest player is sitting down.
You have to think this is Dave Clawson saying a little bit of a taste of your own medicine. The crowd likes it. They know the deal. You got Ole Miss fans laughing, probably because they know it. It's exactly what I just said. A little bit of a taste of your own medicine.
Gain of 22.
Caden Lee, man, he's a weapon for this Ole Miss offense.
Yep.
Henry Parrish, Jackson Dart, Trey Harris, they're going to get a lot of the headlines because Caden Lee, only 5'11", 175. Wasn't one of these high-profile transfers that necessarily comes in, but obviously a big recruit in his own right. He has found a nice role in the slot with his defense, and with this offense, and that's going to continue to be the case because for Jackson Dart, so many defenses are going to be wary of him beating him way down the field. It's a lot of grass in the intermediate area for Caden Lee to do work.
I'm just amazed we haven't seen anything from Caden Preschool. I mean, this guy is a big-time player. He'll be playing on Sundays for a long, long time.
And we mentioned the transfer portal for Ole Miss. Another key point with building this roster was they had guys that were fringe NFL players a year ago that got banged up last season, so didn't necessarily have the tape to ultimately be drafted high. Prescorn was one of those guys at tight end. Jordan Watkins was another guy at receiver. Because you don't have that high draft grade, you get the luxury if you're Lane Kiffin for those guys to come back to school.
First down and 10. Ole Miss with the ball. Parrish. They fake it to him. Big hit on the quarterback who delivers a strike to Harris. Another first down to the 11-yard line for the Rebels. Gain of 18.
This is a big-time NFL throw right there. Pressure in your face. You're on the far hash. It's a post corner. You got to release this ball before the receiver gets out of his hands. That's a route that you need. Gets out of his break. That's a route that you need a lot of trust, a lot of timing, a lot of reps, quarterback to receiver.
Harris appears to be limping a little bit as he runs back over there to the sideline. know if he's cramping up or something going on. He goes right down.
A competitive catch. Wonder if he got banged up on the way down.
Yep. Well, now they're going to allow Wake. You know, when one team makes a substitution, the offense, you have to allow the defense to make a substitution. It happened with one player on each side. Then Ole Miss made another late addition, and Clausen runs somebody in there, and I'm not sure what they're calling here. And Harris is walking back to the Ole Miss locker room. That's not a good sign. Guys, second team preseason All-American.
There's no foul on the play. Please reset the game clock to 25 seconds. Play clock 25 seconds.
Transferred from Louisiana Tech, where he piled up nearly 2,900 receiving yards and 24 touchdowns. He has 103 receiving yards on 9 catches tonight.
Talk about the portal guys like Harris. We used to see guys at Louisiana Tech maybe pop up in the NFL draft. Now schools like Ole Miss can pluck them.
False start. Offense, number 52. 5-yard penalty. First down.
And Lane Kiffin's telling the refs, we want to go. We want to play fast. He knows his offensive line's gearing up, ready to go. Being critical of the refs, maybe slow to snap the ball. Even up to 3-6. Lane Kiffin's not letting off the gas.
9 penalties for 89 yards now against Kiffin's Rebels. Parrish in motion, and they're going to drop it off to him inside the 15, down to the 10, and tackled at the 8-yard line. That'll bring up second down.
I've been impressed with these corners. Capone Blue, Jameer Glasker on both sides tackling. Yes, they've gotten beat in the pass game a little bit. Some of that's to be expected. You're not going to totally stop this offense. But those corners have shown up. Haven't missed many tackles.
Little option here. Cornerback keeper flag comes in. That didn't fool anybody on the Wake Forest side defensively. But again, we do have a penalty marker. B.J. Williams, who was nicked up earlier in the game, able to make the stop.
Holding. Offense, number 50. 10-yard penalty. Second down.
That's now 10 penalties for 99 yards. Closed captioning for CW Football Saturday brought to you by Skechers. Hands-free slip-ins.
That's going to be the talking point, not only the penalty yards for Lane Kiffin in Monday meetings, but this offense has stalled a little bit in the red zone. They've moved the ball easily in the middle of the field, but you get down here into the 20, been a little stagnant at times.
Pre-scoring, there he is coming out of the backfield where he lined up, and he's tackled right at the 14-yard line, trying to rip that ball out of there, the Wake defense. So this is third down. They can get a first down in between the 2 and the 3-yard line. And no doubt 4-down territory, the way Ole Miss likes to play. And the quarterback keeper wide open field in front of him. And look at that power running all the way into the end zone for Jackson Dart. My, oh my, is that impressive. Scampers 13 yards for the touchdown.
The ump cam's got the ideal vision right here. Jackson Dart, we said this is old school. This is a young Jackson Dart throwback play right here. Truck sticks the middle linebacker with the safety, Nick Anderson. Momentum getting forward. That's a statement run right there. When your Heisman Trophy level quarterback gets in for a run like that, and the slam, he's got the windmill too. They got all the celebrations going on.
Point after now coming up for Davis. And it is good. 30-6. 3:39 to go in the third quarter from Winston-Salem.
Duke holding on to a 26-21 lead against UConn. Back to Tom, Max, and Trevor.
All righty, fellas. Thank you very much, Mike. It is a 30-6 lead for the 5th-ranked team in the country.
if you're Dave Clawson this drive. All drive, last possession. Found momentum a little bit, getting your deep shots. One-on-one matchups, some of those intermediate routes. But most importantly, I like the way they tried to get the running backs involved, not only in the run game, but some of those check down plays. If you're Hank Bachmeier, it's got to be part of what you're continuing to do.
Drive begins at the 25-yard line for the Demon Deacons. And they hold it. And Bachmeier kept it, and he is dropped from behind. Perkins on the sack, and let's go downstairs to Trevor Scales.
Fellas, just trying to pivot your Wake Forest sideline. You can tell there's a level of dejection, right? Like, especially after that last drive, the way it ended with Jackson Dart literally imposing his will on that defense. There's a measure of understanding that you have to get back out there, but there's still a level of also understanding that it's tough to fight against this Ole Miss team the way that they are bludgeoning them at times.
The backfield, pretty nifty move right there by Claiborne. He continues to play hard. That'll be a gain of 8 on second down. Yeah, I mean, Max, you've been there before. I mean, everybody's been there before, where you're playing a team that, that they're more talented. There's no question about that, and that's not a shot at Wake Forest. This is just a very uber-talented Mississippi team.
Without a doubt. And when you're trying to, Dave Clawson's obviously been here a while, but when they're trying to get back to the level they were at 2 years ago, walking away from this game with some level of momentum's got to be a key.
Well, you got to continue to play it. Alexander, a first down reception to keep this drive alive. That'll be a gain of 4. And an injured Rebel down on the field. And that is Jared Ivey. One thing that could be going on here, and we talked to Lane Kiffin about this, and he said, I've really got to start paying attention to it. I have it in my mind. First 2 games, all the starters were out of the game. Well, as the competition will continue to build, starting here tonight, getting better. They got Georgia Southern next week. But then they get into the meat of the SEC schedule. He's got to get his starters more reps.
It's a good point, and your question in the coaches' meetings was spot on, and their answer was, if you're a guy that can play winning football, we will find a way to play you. So whether that even means we're getting into our 3 deep, if you can play winning football, we're going to trust you and we'll rotate. But if there's a gap between the starter and the next guy, that's the guy we need to strain. Right side of the screen here, Jared Ivey runs into his buddy. He's pointed that left calf right away. Left calf, left ankle.
Oh, boy.
That is not a guy that you want to see hobbling off the field if you're an Ole Miss fan. 6'5", 265. They've loved the way he's come on in the run game, especially, too. I know we've talked about him a few times in the pass rush scenario. That's nothing new. He's been great at that. But the ability to stop to the run, especially as they get into conference play, he's a piece they need.
Preseason second-team All-SEC performer is Ivey. Transfer from Georgia Tech. Clock running, 2 minutes to go here in the third quarter. And Ole Miss with a 24-point lead. Nice underneath route. And another catch is made by Merrill. That's a gain of 9. Good enough for a first down.
6'2", senior from Brentwood, Tennessee. I like that. They're trusting Hank Bachmeier to operate from the pocket, 5-man protection, getting the back out. Ole Miss is going to give you man-to-man coverage on that side. Go win on a slant.
Finding some success all of a sudden is Wake Forest right in the middle of that defense, and that's Alexander for another first down, a gain of 14.
And again, we're seeing that slow mesh. Hank Bachmeier riding in there. Once the linebacker triggers, Deuce Alexander just stops right behind the linebackers in that second window. That's why you do the slow mesh. Force those linebackers to commit. You have an easy completion.
Looked like a false start on the right side of that offensive line for Wake.
Snap infraction. Offense, number 74. 5-yard penalty. First down.
We're going to see this slow mesh right here. Watch how long Hank Bachmeier reads that. Most offenses do not do that, but you're waiting for those linebackers to step up. Good job by Deuce Alexander. hitting in that window, who they really like. They think he could be an all-ACC caliber player as he continues to grow in this offense.
Carney for a gain of 4. So it'll be 2nd down and 11. 30 seconds closing in, remaining in the 3rd quarter. Out of the shotgun, right underneath once again, and able to stay on his feet once again is Merrill, and he is able to get to the 1st down marker. It's a gain of 9.
Looks like the same route is the same route. Different coverage, though. Ole Miss now going to a 2-high structure. Both safeties deep.
And a couple of nice drives here in this 3rd quarter for Wake.
They have, as Dave Clawson's going to take it to the 4th quarter.
So we're off to the 4th quarter. Dart & Company with a 30-6 lead. You're watching CW Football Saturday, presented by Verizon. 15 minutes to go. Ole Miss 30, Wake Forest 6. 20 of those 30 came in the opening quarter for Ole Miss.
Wake Forest hanging tough.
It's been a 10-3 game in favor of Ole Miss since the end of the 1st quarter. But they do count the points you scored in the 1st quarter.
They do. That is how football works.
Yeah, I mean, it's breaking news, I'm sure. Holds it. And was that catch made by Alexander? That is a catch, and that is good enough for a 1st down, a gain of 11.
And it's that same play that Alexander caught before the timeout, hooking right around the linebackers as the linebackers commit to defend the run. There's a vacated zone right there. Good job by Wake Forest taking advantage.
This time they hand it off, and that's Carney. Makes his way to the 15. Tell you, they think Alexander, you brought it up earlier, this guy is a redshirt freshman. They think he's got some big days ahead of him.
You see his catch on the up cam right there. That's a great job, selling out. 2 hands, tucking it in there. Great catch.
Only played in 2 games last year as a true freshman, so he got a redshirt. Bachmeier rolling, looking down into the end zone, and batted away. Outstanding coverage made down there by Trey Washington.
We've said that a couple times today about Trey Washington, this senior, starting his 19th game today as an Ole Miss Rebel. They're putting him on an island at the safety spot right there, outbreaking route. He's in his hip pocket the whole time.
Got a 3rd down and 6. Demon Deacons need to get to the Ole Miss 9 to get a 1st down. Bachmeier being chased and has to throw it away. Well, he was being hunted down in a big way right there by Kyrie Coleman.
It's a great adjustment by Kyrie Coleman, too. Wake Forest was able to escape the pocket the play earlier on that same action where Bachmeier fakes to the left and then rolls out to his right. Ole Miss says, you can get us once on that. We're not going to get you a 2nd time. Coleman came like a heat-seeking missile on that play.
So they go again on 4th down. Their last drive stalled at the 5-yard line on 4th down. And again, just such great coverage. Had an eye on Merrill down there, but Brandon Turnage, transfer from Tennessee, right on the spot. You're watching CW Football Saturday, presented by Verizon. Team captain's pretty excited. Peyton Manning came in to talk to the boys.
Sheriff, that was my favorite quarterback growing up. We've got similar foreheads, or at least that's what social media tells me. We both got the 5 heads.
Yeah, the 5 head. Yeah, mine is becoming now a 5 head.
Yeah, I was born with it. Both Peyton and I were born with it.
I hear you. I hear you. That's really cool stuff. The kids from Wake really excited naturally to have Peyton Manning show up, speak with the team. There's Parrish, who's had a big night, well up over 100 yards tonight for Henry Parrish. Of course, you know, Ole Miss was trying to figure out what was the backfield going to look like. Truly one of the great running backs in the country the last 2 years. Wore an Ole Miss uniform in Quinshon Judkins. And then I think he surprised everybody by transferring out of Ole Miss and going to Ohio State, where they already had Travion Henderson. And Judkins rushed for over 100 yards in their win last week. But Parrish looks like a keeper.
Without a doubt. And Lane Kiffin talked about it. He said by losing, you know, last year you had 2 great running backs. You wanted to feature those guys on a play-in, play-out basis. This year, you're still kind of figuring out what you got at running back, and you know you have an NFL quarterback, which then allows you to maybe rely on the receiver position group where you know you're deep even more than you did last year.
We have a couple of other transfer running backs, as that one is fired down the middle of the field, and the catch is made by Harris, and that is a first down. All the way up to the 45-yard line, a gain of 19. But you had Bentley, who has seen some playing time in his career, battling it out with Matt Jones for that number 2 spot. We have not called Bentley's name at all. We have called Jones' name tonight.
What impresses me, too, about Parrish is for being only 175, he runs hard.
Yeah.
He is always falling forward. He's packing a punch. It's not the biggest running back. He is a complete back.
That'll be good enough for a first down. You know, he split carries and reaped 1. He only got 8 carries for 40 yards in that blowout against Furman. But then had 14 rushing attempts for 165 yards and 4 touchdowns against Middle Tennessee State.
And he's a byproduct of the new era of the transfer portal. Started at Ole Miss, transferred to Miami, didn't work out there, comes back to Ole Miss, open door policy. That would not have happened 5-10 years ago, but it's the nature of the transfer portal era.
Matt Jones, we just said his name a moment ago. He has been getting the backup carries here tonight, not Bentley. It's a gain of 11. And a first down. Dart steps up, takes a big hit. And a one-hop throw is incomplete. Our closed captioning for CW Football Saturday is brought to you by Skechers Hands-Free Slip-In. You know, you look at this Ole Miss schedule this year, and you were quick to point out that, you know, they don't play Alabama. They don't play LSU. And LSU, you know, they got a win today. South Carolina attempting a field goal, came up just short to tie the game at the buzzer. Their 2 toughest opponents in the SEC, and look, nobody's a pushover in the SEC, but Georgia, they'll play at home. And a couple of weeks before them, they'll play number 15 Oklahoma at home. And it's got a nice setup to it, as you brought up earlier.
Without a doubt.
Here's Jones. All the way down to the 10-yard line. It'll be first and goal after a carry of 18 for Matt Jones.
Another up-cam look right behind the A-gap. Good ball security in the hole, getting up on the 3rd level quickly. And Tom, just to overlay on your point, too, you mentioned Alabama. You also escaped Missouri in a year where they're
Forgot about them, yep.
You have Florida and Kentucky in years where they appear to be down. They've been, Kentucky in recent memories, been a good, strong SEC opponent. So, I mean, that was one of my takeaways walking through meetings with Lane Kiffin, is it just feels like this is the season for Ole Miss where all the stars are aligning. When you have an NFL quarterback, you have a very deep defense and a great front on both sides of the ball. You invested a ton in the transfer portal. And if you're Ole Miss, I love the fact that Alabama and Georgia are getting all the headlines.
Yep.
And Ohio State, all those teams, they'll hide in the shadows.
Yep. And, you know, getting to the college football playoffs, the name of the game.
Take a back seat to really anyone in the country. Special quarterback Ole Miss has.
You know, in 2022, he got 12 starts. Ole Miss went 7-5 that year. There's a throw, and a penalty flag comes in very late over on the sideline. That's Caden Lee on the catch. But then last year, Dart throws for over 3,300 yards, 23 touchdowns, only 5 picks. And they set a school record with 11 wins.
Pass interference, offense, number 3. 15-yard penalty. It's second down.
Yeah, they're going to get the top receiver on a little pick route right here. Trying to get a little rub action, get Caden Lee free. But Juice Wells coming from the outside in that little circus route just does too much. Ref calls him on it.
So to back him up to the 24-yard line. It is second down and goal. Played nicely on defense there. Daquan Wright takes a handoff.
Those penalties, and they haven't been as fluid again in the red zone. I think that's going to be a key talking point for Lane Kiffin this week in practice. Is this offense is great and this offense is explosive, but when they condense you down, Coach Kiffin's message all week is going to be, we got to be able to execute better.
114 yards of penalties. That was Wells on the carry there. It's third down and goal from the 20. By far the most snaps these Ole Miss starters have played, and now the third game of the year. They're out there in the fourth quarter. They were done at halftime. Once in the third quarter, another. Throw to the end zone, incomplete. And a flag comes in late again. Had an eye on Trey Harris back in the corner of the end zone.
Yeah, I think they're going to get Jameer Glasgow here on either pass interference or holding. It's hard enough to defend these Ole Miss receivers once, but when you have a quarterback scrambling,
There are
even
fouls
tougher to
by
hang
both
with.
teams on the play. An eligible player downfield. Offense number 61. Pass interference. Defense number 25. Those fouls offset. It's third down.
You can see Glasgow right there holding the collar, and then Ole Miss, Diego Pounds, the reserve left tackle, thinking that Jackson Dart was going to run. You got to think when you're on the 20-yard line, 15-yard line, it's a long way for your quarterback to run. A guy like Jackson Dart's going to stay a passer.
Third down and goal. Parrish checks back game into the backfield.
The box is light. Wonder if they go back to the QB run.
And Lane Kiffin calls a timeout.
Timeout.
Let me ask you, we talked about it was a 20-3 game at the end of the first quarter. They come out bang, 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 3 touchdowns, including the first one that took a minute and 23 seconds. Since then, they've scored 10. It's been a 10-3 game since. How do you think Kiffin looks at his team's performance so far tonight?
I think ultimately he wishes they had more explosive plays. But at the end of the day, I mean, credit this Wake Forest defense for hanging tough.
Well, we talked about the penalty yards. We talked about all the offense they put up as far as yards. And look, at halftime, Coach Kiffin said, look, we had a bad snap that cost us in the red zone once. We had the play down at the goal line on the hit on Dart, where he was a half a yard short. Well, both of those are touchdown drives, a little bit different animal right now.
Without a doubt, without a doubt. And they had that gimme, too, the blown coverage from Wake Forest, too, that gave them a touchdown.
Yep.
If you don't have that, the stat line and the outlook could look even different.
Here's Parrish, big hole. He already has a couple of touchdowns tonight, and he's wrapped up right at the 10-yard line. It'll bring up fourth down and goal after a gain of 11, and out comes the field goal unit.
And a good tackle by Nick Anderson again at the safety spot. That is one thing that I think slowed down Lane Kiffin's offense is the secondary for Wake. Had that one blown coverage, but for the most part, making those tackles in space and not allowing, a 5-7-yard gain to become a 17-yard gain.
A 26-yard field goal try for Davis, who's missed an extra point tonight for the first time in 2 years, and this one is good to make it a 33-6 game with 8:02 to go.
7 points with just over 8 minutes left in regulation here at Legacy Stadium. And it's some tough news coming from that Ole Miss sideline. We were watching the progress or lack thereof from one Jared Ivey, that star defensive end, but unfortunately we did see a cart come out and pick him up from the injury tent. We will continue to await word on his return.
Well, you sure hope that young man's okay. Let's check back in with the guys in the studio, Mike and Michael.
All right, time for a CW studio update. We'll check in on Maryland and Virginia, a UVA team that just beat this Wake team. You saw Ty Felton getting into the end zone to make it 7-6 Terps moments ago. Got a UVA touchdown. By the way, just to throw this out there, guys, we're keeping an eye on Kentucky and Georgia. 6-3 right now. Wildcats on top at the half.
All right, fellas, homecoming weekend, and a lot of folks have made their way out of here. We have 8:02 to go, and a new quarterback comes on. And we've seen him plenty of times before in the past. In fact, started in week 1, and that is Michael Kern.
You said it. He started week 1, and they ultimately went with Hank Bachmeier simply for the reason of, hey, when Hank was in the game, the ball just happened to move better. But both these guys had a competition in fall camp. Reps were split in half, which they were excited for Hank Bachmeier to really get in the fold of this game. But Michael Kern is certainly a willing passer.
Ty Clark III was the one who had a big gain on that play, and then he coughed it up. And the Rebels have recovered it.
It was Lewis Moore at that safety position, the former corner. We've said that before. Comes up with the recovery. It's actually his buddy there. Punching it out. Throw back to Spencer Tillman days.
It's Saunders.
John Saunders Jr. Wasn't even worried about the tackle there. Just absolute punching it out.
That young man right there, they had big plans for him down the road. Ty Clark III out of Nashville, Tennessee. He's a freshman. Had a couple of nice runs there, but put it on the ground. You know, you talk about the SEC. Kentucky is beating Georgia at halftime tonight, 6-3.
Saw that score to start the second quarter.
You know, you brought up a good point. You know, Kentucky has been a team that has been a rock-solid team for a number of years under Coach Stoops. And then they get blown out of the gym a couple of weeks ago, and you're thinking, what happened here?
And it'll be interesting in every conference. It feels like the conference champs, it's going to be hard to go unscathed this year. I feel like we're used to college football where it's undefeated, one-loss type of teams. These conferences are deep and competitive. Credit Kentucky for responding, too, after a tough week last week.
Yeah, they get boat raced by, what, South Carolina, I think it was, and then all of a sudden South Carolina goes against LSU. We brought up earlier that, you know, that they get 2 home games against ranked opponents, they being Ole Miss, in Georgia and Oklahoma. They will play a ranked team on the road at Death Valley.
And that is no easy place to play, and I was impressed with Garrett Nussmeier. Oh, wow.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Antoine Wells Jr. with an unbelievable catch for a touchdown. They call him Juice, and my, oh my, here's some juice for you.
Oh, baby, we're seeing the arm strength from Jackson Dart. He puts it on a spot, only need one hand. Juice Wells Jr. secures it with the second. That is a phenomenal catch to probably put this game away. Hadn't said his name that much today, but Juice Wells coming up big.
He was tabbed as the SEC's preseason newcomer of the year. He's on his 3rd school.
As we were talking about South Carolina.
Yep.
The South Carolina transfer.
Yep. He started at James Madison, then went on to South Carolina.
Hits him with the hitch and go, gets out of bounds, but he reestablishes his feet back inbounds, gets those 2 steps. Because he was forced out of bounds, that's totally fine, and that is an exceptional catch. Because in slow-mo, that looks easy, but that ball is coming in, and the question will be, did he go out on his own, or was he pushed out? And that contact, that jam, he was pushed out.
Yep.
And he reestablishes himself, tracks the ball with his eyes, makes that look easy when that is far from it.
This young man comes into Ole Miss this year with nearly 3,000 receiving yards, 30 touchdowns. He was an all-SEC performer a year ago with the Gamecocks. And they got it going on over there. It's another touchdown pass by Dart. Right, some of the guys out there in that Heisman race, at least some of the conversation early on.
Without a doubt, Quinn Ewers, huge win last week versus Michigan. But, man, I love our ACC guy, Cam Ward, balling out today. And then Jackson Dart with a touchdown pass late in this game, now up to 377-yard passing. His name's going to be in the mix. And then Dylan Gabriel got the Ducks back on track today against their rivals, the Beavs. But, man, with Jackson Dart, you've seen it in years past with guys like Joe Burrow or Jaden Daniels that were established great starters in the SEC that hang around for another year, take an extra step. Wouldn't surprise me at all if he finds himself not only in the Heisman conversation, but top of the NFL conversation as well. Again, another efficient night, 26-34. 2 TDs and 377 yards. We talked about it earlier, his legs being a factor as well, which he's going to have games where, Tom, he's going to have to count on that. It's not necessarily always going to be winning from the pocket. When games get grimier, his ability to beat you with his legs is going to be a factor.
So Kern on in relief of Bachmeier. Under 6 minutes to go. Wake Forest with a football. And back up through the middle. It is Ty Clark to third. He's had 3 nice runs. Had the fumble a moment ago.
Had some push there. The true freshman, big back, 6 foot, 210 as a true freshman. Had some good backs here. We talked about it. Damon Claiborne, Kenneth Walker a few years ago.
All the backups in now for both teams. The entire, if I'm right, I think that's all backups right now on the field defensively for Ole Miss. Kern throws to the corner. Boy, that's a nice throw and a nice catch down there. Made by Jaden Gerard.
An exceptional throw here by Michael Kern. Little slot fade from the inside. There's some space there. He puts it into a tight window. It's been nothing easy in this passing game, but there's been some good throws from both these cornerbacks. Kern there and Bachmeier at times today as well.
25-yard gain, a first down to the Ole Miss 40-yard line. You know, you can't, we have a 40-6 game. But for these backup players, and Max, you know how this is, and Trevor, I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on this. You know, these are such important minutes to guys. You don't know, now maybe next weekend against Georgia Southern, maybe you get a chance again. But you don't know how much you're going to play the rest of the year if you're these guys, and you want to get out there and let it all hang out.
Totally. From a backup quarterback perspective, too, there is no replacement for game reps. You can have all the reps in the world at practice, but you get game reps, there's just a different energy, different intensity that you can't replicate.
And for this young man, Clark, the running back, we talked about being a freshman, Trevor. I mean, you know, he's getting a chance to go against some really talented backup players at Ole Miss, and he's running well.
He really is. There's an aggression about his running that you can certainly appreciate, but one of the biggest things that, as a running back, that even Damon Claiborne learned, it's a matter of speed through the hole and not to the hole. So that patience is something that you learn with game reps, as Max alluded to.
And something to keep an eye on, too. Ole Miss's defense has not allowed a touchdown this season. You better believe Pete Golding, their defensive coordinator, is telling them that. Keep the streak alive.
Well, there's a guy, Golding, who has really worked his way from the low levels of college football for so long. FCS, Division I AA. Gets hired by Nick Saban.
Yep.
And then when Kiffin had a chance to bring him in as defensive coordinator, he did.
It's fun to talk to, too. You can tell he's got that energy about him. You said it comes from that Saban tree, cross pass with Kiffin at Alabama. When there was a spot to get a defensive coordinator there, they knew it was Pete Golding was the man.
4th down and a yard. Clark's going to get the first down. He's got 6 carries for 40 yards coming off the bench. That'll be a gain of 4, and they'll move the chains. We'll see if Wake can find a way to do what no team has done before. And that score a touchdown against the Rebels.
Yesterday, Dave Clawson told us as you approach the 2-minute timeout, there's a pass play you like. You might call it here rather than trying to totally whittle the clock down now that you have what would be a 4th timeout.
Well, they're continuing to hand the ball off to Clark, and he's to the 25-yard line. We are down to 2:15 to go. It's going to be fun to watch this Ole Miss team moving forward because, I mean, they have laid it all on. You give their boosters, you give their fans, you give their administration all the credit in the world for the way they have provided this football team with everything it needs. Talented players, trying to make a run as an SEC champion. 6 yards per carry.
They did a little bit of everything. It started with Henry Parrish, and then had the deep shot to Jordan Watkins as well. And their defense was steady throughout the entire game, heating things up on Hank Bachmeier all night.
Dart throws for 377. They rush for almost 260. So 633 yards of offense from a team that was averaging over 700 yards of offense over its first 2 games. It's going to be a tough team to beat.
Especially because they're deep, as we're seeing right here with their reserves, and they just can beat you in different ways. It doesn't, in years past, it might have to been a offensive attack, outscore you type of identity. I think they're going to win games this year on the back of their defense, and they can win games on the back of their run game. This is a really good football team.
Just hope Ivy's okay. Man, that would be a big hit for this team. Outstanding player.
It's scary, too, when it didn't look like much, yet they bring out the cart. It's never a good sign.
Batted into the air and one-handed interception. How about that? Suntarine Perkins, sophomore.
Got the pressure inside. Get the big paw by true freshman Jamarius Brown and his buddy Suntarine Perkins. Right place, right time. That's going to happen when you're active. This is an athletic defensive line. We've made a lot about their size up front, but man, these edge guys, Perkins right there getting it done, and he'll have an elevated role if Jared Ivey's out. Perkins is his reserve. Look for him to step up in the weeks to come.
Well, the combination of what they can do to you on the ground, in the air, as penalty flags litter the field. Austin Simmons getting the football. I mean, they're just so talented. But the difference, again, getting back to some of the comments made by Nick Saban.
Hands to the face, defense number 99, 15-yard penalty, an automatic first down. Ole Miss number 55 may remain in the game because his helmet came off due to the foul.
Got a jam-packed sports weekend that starts on Friday night. NASCAR on the CW premieres under the lights at Bristol, followed by Washington State against San Jose State. Then we move to Saturday. We've got the Live Golf Team Championship, doubleheader of college football action. You and I will be in Dallas, Texas for the TCU-SMU game. There's Bentley, his first carry of the night.
They're getting Bentley in there. Austin Simmons, the true freshman quarterback from Miami, Florida. Not insignificant.
No.
He getting these reps. New redshirt rule, can play 4 games. So for a capable quarterback, the post-Jackson Dart era, got to get him ready.
Yeah, he's thrown a touchdown pass already this season. There's a carry off to the left side. And again, it's Bentley. I'd like to thank our producer, Scott Snyder. Our director is Lonnie Dale. And our entire outstanding crew from here in Winston-Salem. It's a fun group to work with. Max, enjoyed it, my man. See you next week.
Yes, sir.
For Max and Trevor and our entire crew, Tom Brenneman, thanks for being with us. And we will send it back to the CW Football Saturday studio. Mike Yam and Michael Bumpus, 40-6, our final. Ole Miss rolls on.